You know, there is a certain moment in adulthood when you look around and think, wasn't life supposed to get a little easier by now? You've got a job or two, maybe a hobby that doesn't involve panicking, and yet the math still doesn't add up. The numbers say you are doing fine, but reality says you are one flat tire away from financial ruin. And the strangest thing is that everyone acts like this is normal. The middle class really is shrinking. In the US, it used to be 61% of the population back in 1971. Today, it's just 51%, a 10-point drop. But here is the part people almost never see. Their share of national income dropped even faster, from 62% to 43%, a 19-point drop. So if life feels harder, it's not just because the middle class got smaller, it's because the money meant to support that group shrank even more. In other words, fewer people and even less income to go around. So I figured it's time we talk about it. In this video, I want to break down what's actually happening in a simple way, because there are really just three big forces squeezing the middle class today. Here is the quick definition we'll use. Middle income equals 75% to 200% of the national median income, according to the OECD. That range covers everyone from not so great to I brought the expensive olive oil this week. So basically, the people who aren't poor, aren't rich, and keep the whole system running. If you've ever wondered why working hard doesn't feel quite as profitable as it used to, here is why. Think of the economy as a big machine that converts human effort into money. For most of the 20th century, when the machine got better, faster, more efficient, workers got better too. Productivity went up, wages followed. A reasonable, almost heartwarming arrangement. Then, in the 1980s, the relationship quietly broke. Productivity kept climbing, but wages didn't. And that's not because people didn't deserve it. It's because three big forces rewrote the rules of how work is rewarded. When computers got cheap and clever, companies realized they could replace entire categories of jobs with software or machines. Admin tasks, assembly lines, filing, processing, whole layers of middle skilled work kinda disappeared. Productivity soared, but workers didn't get the benefit because the machines took the race. As trade barriers fell, companies could move routine jobs to lower wage countries. Efficient for businesses, brutal for the workers who stayed behind. And whenever a job can be done somewhere else for cheaper, the bargaining power and the wages of the people left at home drops. Unions declined and collective bargaining softened. Labor laws got more flexible, which is a polite way of saying we can pay you less and you can't do much about it. When workers lose bargaining power, wage growth loses its pulse. So, yeah, the economy grew, productivity rose, and wealth exploded. But the part that used to trickle down to ordinary workers stopped trickling. That's how the contract got rewritten. If you've ever tried to live a normal, respectable middle class life and felt like it's not that easy, well, it's because of costs, obviously. Not the sudden, unexpected, one time kind of costs, but the other kind. The polite, don't mind me increases that eventually shove you off a financial cliff. Even when incomes rise, housing rises faster. Across rich countries, home prices grew around 3 times faster than the median incomes. 3 times. That means you can earn more every year and still fall further behind the housing market. Owning a home, the classic middle class milestone, turned into a luxury item. And it's not just housing. The core ingredients of the so-called middle class formula, education, healthcare, childcare, all started sprinting ahead of wages. These aren't optional costs. You can cancel Netflix. Hell, you can even go so far as canceling your Amazon Prime subscription. But you can't cancel your kid's school or your doctor. Put all these costs together and you get something scary. More than 1 in 5 middle income households spend more than they earn. And the middle class is actually more over indebted than both the poor and the rich. They make the money, but they can't buy the life. So that fills the gap. This is the cost trap. The modern version of the middle class isn't a house, a car, and a holiday. It's a rented apartment, a car with the check engine light permanently on, and a bank account that panics when you look at it. A generation doing most of the things right, but financially sprinting in sand. If the middle class is slowly drowning, this is the moment in the video where we finally notice who's been standing on higher ground the whole time, sipping a drink and wondering why everyone else looks stressed. Because while life has been getting harder for the middle, the top of the ladder has been thriving. In 1980s, the global top 1% captured roughly twice as much income growth as the bottom half of humanity. Half the planet on one side, 1% on the other. And these guys walked away with the bigger slice. So when the economy grows, most of the new wealth is created above the middle class, not within it. But this isn't about billionaires buying yachts. That's the cartoon version of it. The real squeeze comes from within country inequality, the gap between the rich and everyone else inside the same system. The middle class doesn't collapse because the poor get poorer. It collapses because the rich climb hell of a lot faster, pulling the ladder up as they go. And here is the thing. A lot of people at the top did work hard, and I am not debating that. But the system also works harder for them when they get there. Tax rules favor capital over labor. Investment gains outpace wages. And wealth naturally buys influence, which shapes policies that protect wealth. It's not a conspiracy. It's incentives, and incentives don't lie. The danger isn't that the rich are rich. Societies survive that all the time. The danger is when the distance between the top and everyone else grows so wide that people stop believing effort leads anywhere. And once that belief collapses, things start to shake. By the way, I need to tell you something really important. If you hit the like button, somewhere out there, a middle-class household finally catches a break. Probably not, but it does help the channel. And subscribing, that just makes you a good person, the best one there is. Thanks in advance, and let's get back to the video. So after all this, where does that leave us? Honestly, somewhere a bit clearer, because now we know why things happen the way they are. The wages that stopped keeping up, the costs that sprinted ahead, and the ladder that quietly got pulled upward. You stop assuming it's your fault, and you stop thinking you just mismanaged your life. The middle class didn't disappear because people got lazy. It disappeared because the rules changed, slowly, and in ways most of us were too busy living our lives to notice. And now that you can name what's going on, you are not lost in the fog anymore. You get to look at your situation with clearer eyes. Maybe that means changing something. Maybe it means demanding something. Maybe it just means something else. I don't know. The problem about the problem is that understanding it doesn't always fix everything.